Thank you for joining us today for our quarterly TeamConnect product webinar. Today, Allison Tessman will provide details around our latest TeamConnect 4.1 release. As a reminder, Allison is our senior sales consultant who works closely with our enterprise clients and prospects, figuring out their needs and wants. And if any of you are going to Interact September 11th through the 14th in Miami this year, make sure you find Allison because she has a fun story to tell you. She won't tell me what it is, so I'm curious to hear what you guys learned from her. But before I turn it over to Allison, I just wanted to go over a few housekeeping items. We will be recording this webinar. We'll be sending it out probably early next week. But if you have any questions during the webinar, please feel free to use the Q&A function of the WebEx. Again, thank you for joining us today, and Allison, it's all yours.
Great, thanks, Abby. Can you just confirm that you can hear me well?
Yes, we are.
Awesome. Okay, so thank you for joining today. I know it's one day before a holiday weekend, so I really do appreciate your time and attention. Today I am going to be covering a couple of the things that were released in the most recent version of TeamConnect, and specifically that's release 4.1. Some of you may have met me before. If you have not, definitely reach out afterwards and say hi. I'd love to hear from all of you, including questions and anything that I can help you with. So as an idea of what we're doing today, this is probably going to be a pretty short webinar, so I won't keep you from lunch too long. But the idea is that I want to tell you, hey, what's in the release that we're looking at? And then I've got two pieces of the functionality to demo for you, and that's the global search overhaul that you may have heard quite a bit about, as well as the tendering piece that we've released in the last year. And of course, I'll try and answer any questions that come in through chat as well. So I guess without further ado, let's talk about the release itself. There are three main things that are included in the 4.1 release. The biggest thing and the thing that you'll probably hear us talking about the most is going to be that global search redesign. So many of you, since you're already TeamConnect clients, are aware that global search was not always the funnest thing to use in TeamConnect prior to this release. And one of the things that we really spent a long time doing as part of this project, and in fact, I was actually working with the product management team during the design of the global search, to actually make this something that was really useful and something that you could use in your daily life. So the idea behind this is that it should be very, very easy to use. It should make it very easy to drill down into some filter areas after you've done a search term. Plus, it's going to include some things like fuzzy searching and near searching that you may have been missing before. The next thing that I've got for you today is tendering. Now, I've actually had a lot of people ask, well, what exactly is tendering and why would I want to use it? The basic idea of tendering is that, sometimes instead of knowing exactly which vendor you want to work with, you might want to ask a couple of vendors to tell you how much they think it would cost to work on a specific matter. And the tendering piece of the 4.1 release actually allows you to do this through Collaborati so that you can actually be approving tenders or rejecting tenders. You can also think of them as bids for work, and that will all be then automatically captured in TeamConnect. And the last thing that's part of the 4.1 release, which we're actually not going to demonstrate today because it's workflow-based, is that there were some workflow enhancements. So that includes things like I could reassign something that was assigned to me in a workflow to another person, or if I'm a workflow process manager, I could also take something that was in workflow that I know I needed to restart or send back to a previous stop, and instead of sending it all the way back to the beginning, I could send it exactly to the stop that I need to send it to. So it's kind of a high-level overview of what's included in the 4.1 release. And in terms of drilling down into global search, I've covered a little bit of this already, but what are we looking for from the global search redesign? We really wanted to make it very performant so that it's not taking ages to get your responses back when you put in a filter or a search term. We also want to make sure that it searches through basically all of the things you'd have in TeamConnect, including fields, documents, and related records. So that's some of the things that are actually included as part of the global search redesign. So let's take a look at this in TeamConnect. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my TeamConnect with 4.1 version. And what you'll see first is that we've actually put the search button in the middle of the navigational bar. And that just makes it front and center. It's going to be really easy to find in the future. There are a couple of other things that we've added with the global search function. So I have the ability to actually look through the recent searches that I've done at a global level, so that if I walk away, just like my recent items list, if I walk away and I come back, 5-10 minutes later, or even if I get 5 or 6 levels deep into a specific record, I can always go back to that search term that I just did, and it's going to take me back to my results. We also added that search tab. That does the exact same function as the recent search does. It's just a matter of where you want to find it. We are not losing any functionality that we had in the global search before. So for instance, I can actually pull this down to a specific record type that I want to search through, or I can search through everything. So you might be thinking, when would I actually use this? There's a lot of times that I come into to TeamConnect and I think, hey, have we done this before? Or when was the last time that we did this type of work? And that's actually what this really will help you excel at. So if I'm looking for the last time that I did an NDA, I'm going to do an NDA search and get my results back very quickly. This is not only searching through just documents, but it's searching through anything that would have that related task, related transaction, anything that has that search term in it. I can also look at this and go, well, some of these results might have been from years ago. I really want to make sure that it's something that we've done recently. So if I select that I want to see anything that was done in the last 60 days, I'm going to go ahead and apply those filters, and then I'm getting just the results that match that profile that I've looked for, which is that I'm looking for something with an NDA as well as something that was modified in the last 60 days. If I want to go back to those first results that I had, I can simply clear my filters and I'm getting everything back again, and then I can move in a different direction. So I might look at this and say, I'm really only interested in documents. So let's go ahead and filter out everything that's not a document. And each one of these filters is actually configurable. So you have some options for how to actually present this to your users when you're rolling this out in your department. The other thing that you have some options with is what actually shows here in your search. So you see here that for a document, I'm getting things like the author, when it was last modified, and how big it is. For a transaction, I'm getting who's assigned to it and what phase is it in. Those are actually configurable to you as well. So you're able to actually set up things like, well, maybe I want the transactional description here, and I can get that information right in my search results, so that I don't even need to click into it to get some good result information back right at the search term. The other thing that you might notice is that I have the ability to open these up in edit mode right from my global search. So if I know that this is the transaction I want to work on, I can actually go ahead and open it up in edit mode without having to do any other clicks. So I'm going to pause here and just see if there's any questions in the chat. Okay, I don't see any right now. Do feel free to keep those coming in if you have any questions. The next thing that I might think about wanting to work with in terms of searching is I might know that I need, like a different type of contract. So for instance, I might want to say, when was the last time we did a master services agreement? And I know that we don't have a standard naming convention for that. So I might be looking for MSA or master services agreement. And when I do that search then, it's going to go through everything and pull all of the things that would be relevant to that search term. So I'm getting a lot of options. I can do and or searching here. I can also do sort of the fuzzy searching that we've been looking for as well. So if I'm looking at this and then I want to say, yep, I'm just looking for contracts, it would be really easy for me to take out anything that's not a document and anything that's not a transaction and narrow my results list very quickly. So speaking of other matters that I might be looking for, if I wanted to find something that was a discrimination termination, I'm looking for something, if I can spell it, and I want to look for something where these two words appear within 10 words of each other. And I can do that search really quickly, and then I'm going to get just the actual matters that would have these two search terms in close proximity. So that would probably appear in their description. A couple of the other things I can do in terms of global search is things like the and that I talked about before, but I do have to spell it right. I'm really easily able to get into, you see that this is searching through a complete document, and it took a few seconds to return this back to me, even though it's searching the whole content, and I'm doing sort of a complex search by saying I want both of these search terms. So that's one of the ways that this has become a lot more performant, and it was really one of the focuses of this project. Yeah. And before we actually leave the global search piece, I did want to just show you that if you have any questions and you're looking to get a little bit of extra training, you might want to go ahead and find our client trainer, who's Blair Bonema, and you might be able to find him in your search terms if you have him saved in TeamConnect using a sounds-like search or a wildcard search. So just before I move on to tendering, any other questions here with global search? Definitely go ahead and type those into the chat. We'll give you a couple seconds on that. All right. The next thing that I have for you here is tendering. I know this looks like a lot of words, so I'm just going to boil it down to very quickly. I mentioned this before. The reason that we have tendering is to allow you to actually send bids out to multiple vendors for a type of work. And a lot of times you might be thinking, hey, I can use that with things that I might use a flat fee ASA with, or things that I want a capped fee on. So those are actually reasons that you might want to use a tendering process. This also makes it easier to manage this process because you're going to have it actually captured in TeamConnect. So instead of actually reading through all of that, I'm going to show you what it looks like in TeamConnect. And a couple of the things behind what you actually need set up to use a tender. So I'm in a matter that I already have set up, and there's a couple of things that I need in place to begin my tender. The first is that I need to have an outside counsel to tender to. So hold on just a second. I am VPNing into this, so it may have gotten lost for a second. All right, I am just looking to see if I can get this restarted in a different browser.
Allison, while you are revamping that, there is a question on search. There is a question about, does it search in PDF files?
It will actually search in PDF files as long as those were digitally created or you put them through an OCR process. It does search basically anything that would have that digital capability. All right, I apologize about this. I am restarting my VPN. Technology is supposed to be helpful, right?
While Allison is restarting her VPN, is there any other questions that we can answer about search?
Okay, so I'm having a little bit of difficulty with my VPN and the internal demo environment. This is so new that I was going to be using an environment that is not externally available yet. But I am not in the Austin office, so it's not liking this. And I'm not sure I can get it restarted in short order. So I think what I will do instead is when we send this out next week, I will include a couple of screenshots in that actual email so that you get an idea of what it looks like. I think we do have one or two other webinars on tendering as well, because it was actually released a little bit ago, so I may find those and send those as well. I truly do apologize for that. That is technology ignorance here on my part. For today, I think what we wanted to get across for tendering was really that this is designed to make it easier for you to collaborate with your vendor partners, to make sure that you are able to get to a place where you know that you're getting value out of the work, and especially that it's not quite a reverse auction, but it does allow you to get towards that, where you're actually saying, you need to tell me that you're going to give me a competitive bid for me to give you my money and the work that I need done. So that's really what the tendering piece is designed to do. And I'll go back to, if you want to go through that in depth with Blair, he actually is more than willing to help clients to get up and running on tendering as well. So again, profuse apologies about my technical difficulties here. I guess that does make the webinar quite a bit shorter, but I did want to also cover a little bit of the workflow enhancement. So this is the last point that I had to make today, and this goes back to that if I was going to be a workflow process manager, there are some new enhancements in the 4.1 instance for you. So that includes being able to say, if I've got a 4-step stop process, instead of sending it back to stop 1 when something goes awry, I'm going to send it back to stop 2 or 3 so that the first person doesn't have to see it again. It also allows the user who is, let's say, in part of the process as well, who may be going on vacation for a weekend. they can actually reassign their stop to another person as long as you've allowed them to have the rights to do that. The last piece of the workflow enhancements is around the ability to prevent an approval from happening before a certain condition is met. And so you might think about this in terms of a validation and approval rule actually being connected. So you're actually looking for something like, hey, before I can approve this invoice, the budget has been updated in the last 60 days. That's the type of thing that this is going to allow you to do. So I guess I will throw it back to the audience again and say, are there any other questions about what we actually were able to take a look at today, or the things that you would want to see in screenshots that are to come from tendering? Okay, Abby, I'm not seeing anything else come through. Are you?
No, I'm not seeing any other questions. So like Allison said, we apologize for some technology issues. We will go ahead and get the recording out to you guys. It will be early next week, and we will try to get more screenshots and other information in regards to the tendering. Should you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. The best way is I'm in the marketing team, so just info@mitratech.com. And like I said, the email, I'll be sending those out probably Monday or Tuesday. Wait, we might have a question. Give me 1 second. On the global search, I'd like to see the Boolean searches you can use in a screenshot.
Can you repeat that? I couldn't quite hear all of the question.
It says, would like to see the Boolean, I might be pronouncing that wrong, but searches. Can you send those in a screenshot?
Oh, like the and or. Yes, we can do that. I will take that away as something to include in the email.
Again, thank you guys for joining. Sorry for the technical difficulties, and we will be emailing you guys out the webinar link shortly, probably Monday, Tuesday at the latest.